Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Global Grandmasters Season 1 for the last time this season. This is it, the best of 5 grand finals, Vega versus Empire. Empire coming into it with a 1-game advantage as they did make it through the upper bracket. Vega, they're going to have to win 3 to take this series. That means Empire only needs to win 2. Today's coverage brought to you by moonducktv. I'm Zyori, joined again by Purge. Purge, how you feeling here coming into the grand finals?
I'm super excited. The games have been fantastic leading up to this. I'm kind of surprised that not all of these teams are going to TI, but I actually don't know who's going to win. Like you said, Empire is going to have the advantage with 1-game advantage coming from winner bracket, but Vega was looking real good yesterday.
Yeah, certainly so. I was thinking to myself this morning, which team actually has the advantage coming into this? I kind of want to pull up our Dota 2 Lounge odds just to see what they're working on. Of course, we got the Fanabet odds here. Pretty even. Slight favor for Empire. And I guess some of that is just that 1-game advantage that does skew things a little bit. But D12 is surprisingly even, 53% for Empire, 47% for Vega.
Well, I don't think those odds are good considering the fact that they have a 1-game advantage, but I wonder if that was clearly stated on the website. I mean, this is a very rare thing to have in Dota tournaments, is the 1-game advantage from winner bracket. So
that's true, yeah.
I feel like if you guys want to be just legit smart gamblers, you would easily put the money on Empire here, right? Because they only have to win 2 games. Vega has to win 3. That alone is a massive advantage. That's like whatever 2 out of 5 is versus 3 out of 5.
Yeah, maybe worth reiterating that the Fanabet odds, that these live odds that are going to stay on the screen here, that's for the whole series. So it'll fluctuate as the series goes back and forth, not game to game. So that does make things a little more interesting. But hey, let's talk about these heroes a little bit. First pick, Drow Ranger for Team Empire, and Broodmother Dazzle for Vega. They strike back with a Tide. Not a bad hero to have against the Brood, but Dazzle Brood, a lot of power there. Heal Bomb on the Spider Babies alone can be pretty scary early on.
Yeah, that's a great point, and that's basically why Empire, that they have to do that when Empire opens with the Drow Ranger. Drow Ranger is easiest. The best way to counter is really Broodmother. You can offset a lot of her pushing power. You can generally pressure in lane very effectively, and it makes it harder for Empire to lane. So they're going to respond then to the Brood pick with a Tide pick, and what this allows Empire to do is they can do Tide versus Brood in a 1v1, a rare hero that can actually offset a lot of what Brood does in the laning stage, because he can tank creep waves, kill them very easily, casting Anchor Smash a few times once he gets Arcane Boots. So Tide can offset what Brood does, and then Drow can be free to do something in a different lane. Now this also puts them in a bad position because then they're forced to aggro try potentially with Drow Ranger. They may not end up putting Tide versus Brood, it'll depend on the Vega tri lane, but Drow aggressive tri lane usually doesn't go super well because her contribution to a lane compared to other carry heroes is usually not as good.
Yeah, the Drow strats, they really feel boom or bust these days. We saw a lot of it this morning in Mr. Cat. Did not work out so well, but this is a hero that really needs that momentum. I feel like I say that a lot, but Drow really is a hero that needs a good start, and she needs to knock down towers. You pick this hero because you want to use the aura, you want to try to maximize, take objectives, and when the other team pulls ahead early, it can be tough for her to play recovery as we see the next round of bans coming out here. Vega taking out the Dusa and the Coddle. Empire taking out Slardar and thinking about their 4th.
Medusa ban is a little interesting, but I guess because Empire has a really good team fight right now, that if they had a tanky core in the front hitting buildings with Drow to back them up, it'd be pretty scary. And Drow actually offsets a lot of what Medusa lacks, which is actually just damage.
Yeah.
So it would have been pretty nasty to team fight into a Tide Medusa, that's for sure.
Yeah, Empire still had the option to grab like a Vengeful Spirit here, get the double aura going on. I always think about the Drow Venge Puck type strategy with those double auras that solves some of Puck's issues. Maybe a little bit of a weaker hero right now, but could be good team fight setup for the Tide Hunter. We've seen some teams, even just yesterday, really prioritizing magic damage. Maybe something Empire will transition into to round out their draft a bit.
It's possible, yeah. That's one good solution. Things like Witch Doctor can be great for that. A Jug carry is all good potential against Tidehunter, but Vega just needs to grab the strongest lane that they can get. Dazzle's a good opener. He's a very, very good tri-lane hero due to heals, Poison Touch, Grave, all that stuff. So I think they could potentially try and aggro, but it's a little iffy. I have a lot of faith in Mag's ability to be tied in a 1v1. He's been playing Brood for a long time.
Yeah.
Brood is seeing a little bit of a resurgence right now, but I think he can beat a Tide, definitely.
So where does the Kunkka fit into this purge? That's the hero that we've seen a lot of recently.
Well, I don't know if I don't like it in a tri-lane, really. With Dazzle, it's not really good. I mean, maybe it'll be picked on Empire. It's not bad against Brood in the slightest because you can guarantee that she can't get away as well, but that's more of like a mid-game thing. I dare say for once, maybe Kunkka's not the pick here.
Yeah, I guess you're you gravitate more towards the range supports when you have a drow on your team. That's for sure. Vega thinking about this one, though. They'll need their second support as well as their other 2 cores. Wonder what they're thinking here. Still a lot of options to try to deal with this drow. Any kind of gap closer could be good. Generally, mobile heroes, like blink dagger carriers, they could look for something like an axe, perhaps, to close the gap. Block pick as well.
Yeah, they could, I guess. It
That
could
kind
also
of
just
stuff.
give them what Axe versus Tide in an offensive. Well, no, they've already got Brood. I don't. Maybe we're overthinking this a little bit too much,
Yeah.
but I mean, there's a lot of options. Timber's a great choice, though. Very,
Okay.
very good against Tide. Extremely good against Tide because it doesn't matter if he gets rid of your disable. You don't really have disables. You just have massive amounts of pure damage. And plus, with Whirling Death, you can reduce his base strength, which means that he will be killed more rapidly. Timber's great against Tide. I don't necessarily expect to see a 1v1 there, but more likely would be, but they could, they could
Yeah.
maybe play up lanes a little bit, trick their opponents. They could even do brood mid if they really wanted to. Probably not a good choice, but
Yeah,
there's a lot of options.
I think Timbersaws can be good against a drow as well. Her silence can also be an effective tool to lock down the Timbersaw, but if he's able to get in, she's not so happy with the Chakram interface, Whirling Death, Timber Chain, all that kind of stuff. And in fights, one of the priorities is getting somebody within distance to break the marksmanship, so the aura gets weaker, and Drow Ranger's right clicks hurt that much less. One of the things about Timbersaw as well, the reactive armor. Right now, pretty heavy physical damage, and there you go. Lion going to give him a little bit of magical burst and some more great control to deal with Timber, as well as the Dazzle.
It's a great choice, definitely. Even the mana drain in lane can be really useful. I still see Dazzle being very great this game, especially if you can stay on the outside of the fights, though. And I think it's making Dazzle's just looking like a better and better pick as the game and the drafting continues.
Yeah, no doubt. So Timber, a little bit open-ended here. They could put him in the safe lane or even in the mid lane. And wow, Shadow
okay.
Shaman. There you go. A lot of pushing power now.
It's like kind of like the polar, well, not really the opposite. It's very similar to Lion in a lot of ways. Has 2 disables, has pretty good nuke damage. The difference is that Shadow Shaman is much better at pushing due to his wards. He's also a little bit more vulnerable and mana intensive. So he's can be punished if he gets behind. But with both Brood and Shadow Shaman in the game, they should be able to split push towers very rapidly.
Yeah, absolutely. And Shadow Shaman, similar vein to the Lion, if he's able to get that early momentum, pick up a Blink Dagger in a timely manner, he can scale pretty well. Blink Hex Initiation is never a bad thing to have, especially against the Storm Spirit, now the 4th pick for Empire. We've been seeing a lot of this Drow Storm thing going on, and for a similar reason why I referenced the Drow Venge Puck, because Storm does suffer from lower base damage. Of course, he does last hit with Remnant, but having that extra damage from Drow does make his time in mid all the easier.
I'm really glad for Vega, though, that they picked Shadow Shaman there because they really were lacking disables. They had none. Just a little bit of slow from Brood Dazzle. By picking Shadow Shaman, at least they have Hex and Shackles, which they can use against the Storm pick. Maybe they didn't expect Storm, maybe they did, but I'm sure they're really happy they have it now. With that said, though, if Shadow Shaman never gets Blink, or if he's heavily pressured in lane, or Empire gets a big advantage and starts pushing like crazy, they're going to get wrecked by this if Shadow Shaman can't defend against the Storm killing him.
Yeah, I like this from Empire here. The Ricky final pick, that'll be their second support. Another bout of silence to pair with the Gust from the Drow Ranger, of course, in the Smoke Cloud. I really like this a lot. A support that can put a lot of pressure on early. The silence will come in handy against the Shadow Shaman, Dazzle, and the Timbersaw. Kind of whatever Vega picks here. I think it really rounds out their draft quite well. And did my Dota just crash? I think it did.
You still here? You still good?
Well,
We're still waiting on another pick. They
okay.
don't have a lot of time, though. I think they only have 14 seconds, so I'll let you know what it is.
Yeah.
Right now, though, I feel like the Empire draft just looks so much better. They have stuns, disables on every single one of the heroes. Vega does have a Broodmother, which can be very useful against the potential Drow pressure, but it looks a little scary as well. And the last pick for Vega is going to be Slark here, which I like. They need something that can get ganks around the map as a core, similar to what the Storm Spirit can do for Empire. You still crashed?
Yep. So we're going to take our quick break. Then we're going to come back to load into this game and get more thoughts.
Monitoring comes through and Big Daddy's on the chase. Moon's there, but he gets silenced. He gets control. They need this Chrono to win the fight. No time to Chrono's up in the spot. They lose the point.
If you really love esports, bet live under all circumstances.
Esport Live Score, the fastest esports scores.
All right, welcome back, and into a pause we go. Didn't miss much there. So, final pick, Slark Purge. You were talking about they needed something with a bit of mobility, and I agree with you. I think a good solution with the Drow Ranger, someone that can pretty reliably get to the back line with Shadow Dance, Pounce, Shadow Blade, and often picked up item on the Slark. I like this. I think it pairs nicely with the Timbersaw as well. Two heroes that can really jump into the back line and put a lot of pressure on.
Yeah, it's going to be really useful for that. The Storm is probably going to be able to pressure Vega heavily, and right now I think that Empire has the better draft. I'm scared about Vega's options, but they do have some good pieces as well. But the Empire lineup just looks so strong together. Drow facilitates the advantage that Storm is going to want to get in the mid lane and other stages. Riki should be able to roam and pressure Vega heroes and limit their ability to accelerate, or at least offset that laning advantage that Empire might have. So
yeah,
I don't know. The Vega draft looks like it has some good things against Empires, but Empires just look so much better on paper. It's hard to mess up Ravages, and they have a lot of good solutions to Slark as well, with just Anchor Smash or some Riki Smoke Cloud or even Line AoE disables to stop his ultimate from being good.
And I also think they are pretty light on ways to deal with the Storm Spirit. The Shadow Shaman makes it so they're not completely defenseless, but even Shadow Shaman can get picked on by a Storm Spirit that has a Bloodstone Orchid pretty easily. If he's out of position, that's a free kill. So
it's the same thing for Dazzle. I mean, if they cover each other, it can be okay for Vega, but that's really what it comes down to. Is Storm going to find them when they're solo? Is Storm going to accelerate by killing Broodmother when he doesn't expect the Riki to also be there? There's a lot of things that Empire can abuse here. If they go super late, though, I would say Vega is going to be doing maybe a little better, but that's maybe not even fair to say. I mean, Tide should be able to always keep his farm up, as should Drow Ranger and Storm. So it's basically a 3-core lineup coming out of Empire, but it's also very safe at doing what it does.
Yeah, I think they have a lot of options. Even if Ramses manages to get shut down, if they do a lot of smoke rotation, Shadow Shaman has a good time in this laning stage. They have a lot of options outside of that. Good team fight, ways to knock down towers. But we'll see. Looks like lane setup from Vega will be fairly straightforward. Mag will indeed take over the off lane. Safe lane, they're going to sit their Slark, and mid, Solo's going to start there, help block out a little bit, and no one will be on the Timbersaw. Radiant side, are they going to do anything funky? Doesn't look like it. Afterlife on the Tide with an Iron Talon, ready to hop in the jungle. Undershock mid on the Storm, and down bottom, they will do a safe lane try. They can put some pressure on this Brood. They've got a Dust and 2 sentries on the Riki.
It's not
they
gonna
are
work.
ready.
I've seen Mag do this before in the past. Luckily, I studied his replays when I was making a Brood game a while ago. He puts the first net here near the jungle, and then he puts a second one in the trees. You can't get to him in the trees is the problem, so he just sits here and he's guaranteed experience. So they actually just can't zone him unless they have like a Bat Rider clear the trees or a Beastmaster or something. So he'll just sit here, sap experience, which is the most important thing for a Brood right now. They do get his ward at least when he blocked the large camp. He made a mistake placing it at the same time Lion showed up, so they saw him place it, they were able to deward it very, very easily. So he will have less vision, and Empire's going to be able to pull constantly, because this is the only way that they can deny his experience.
Okay, so for Mag, it's really just about leeching until the supports decide they're roaming elsewhere. Because if Mag is making space like this, the supports are still sharing XP with Drow Ranger. They're not in the jungle farming, so it is kind of efficient for him to just distract 3 heroes at once, even if he's not really farming.
Yeah, exactly, and he can't really lane successfully until he gets maybe level 3 anyways. Either more nets or 2 points in spawn spiderlings is where Brood starts becoming more useful.
Okay, now mid lane should be fairly even. No one, both sides have a little bit of kill potential if the opponent oversteps their bounds. Usually not until the higher levels. Should be a fairly even farm fest. And Tide, he's just going to go level 1 jungle. Going to wait for that top lane to push into the tower if they lose control. If not, he'll be happy to just keep farming. Down bottom, Dust used on Mag. Maposhka going to lay in a couple of right clicks, as will Ramses. They've got the ice arrows, and they might be able to find a first blood here. A lot of damage coming out on the Brood, and Mag will fall. King R on the Lion gets credit for that one. Riki will walk to the side, and he will survive. Nicely done.
Yeah, and that's the value of Riki, really, that you never know where he is. He's not as obvious as a hero like Bounty Hunter, for example, because you'll see him going to Invis occasionally. And despite not being mid to pressure, I mean, he's just going to wait to try to kill the Brood, and every Brood kill they get is going to help a lot. It'll really offset the whole point of the Brood pick.
And Solo picks up a double damage rune. He'll rotate mid, put a little bit of pressure on the Storm as we see Tide now TP up top, right as the creeps coming to the tower. On point from Afterlife, making the most out of this early laning situation, man. It's that new AG off lane. You got to work in the jungle to make it work. I mean, Brood may be a little bit of an exception, but I'm sure we'll see Mag spend his fair share of the time in the jungle later on.
Yeah, if Tide went to the off lane right at the start, he just easily would have died. I mean, he would have had to get like Kraken Shell or something, but he still had to deal with Pounce and Shadow Wave and 2.75 seconds of disable from Shadow Shaman. It's just, the game would have very limited offlaner options if Iron Talon didn't exist. And I think the game's, despite Iron Talon being kind of a stupid item and being pretty easy mode to execute, it is pushing more hero variety, which is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Tide is kind of okay against Shadow Shaman in some regard, though, because he does have Kraken Shell, which helps out, especially once he hits level 4, level 5, and has a little more meat on the modes. It can be pretty effective, and he actually can lane at least a leech experience, defend the tower, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but much like Broodmother, the problem is going from level 1 to the next couple levels. Against good players, they will always be able to play against it. Oh, they find Mag here.
Yep, they've got a Dust as well as a Sentry. They're going to chase him down. King R sets it up for Ramses to close the gap. Dazzle's inbound, though. He drops a heal. There's the Shallow Grave. Mag will survive and actually turn it on the Drow. Oh, they're going to get Maposhka as well. It's a double for the Brood. Mag lives on a sliver of HP. A great rotation from Sayoma the Slayer. Very well done. The Dazzle makes that turn possible.
Yeah, and the biggest thing about that is that he had spiders up that whole time. It was an insane initiation, by the way. Ricky stood over here next to that sentry ward. He put a sentry in the trees, which was where Mag happened to be standing, so he got vision and detection there, which caused him to blink strike, use dust. I thought for sure they were going to kill Brood, but the fact that he already had spiders picked up meant that it was straightforward. He puts them on the Drow, and the Drow dies.
Yeah, so
I mean, we can maybe criticize Drow. I've talked about this a couple times in cast before. The solution for Drow against Broodmother is to buy a poor man's shield in lane, because every time the spiders attack, they do like, 10-ish damage. If he gets a poor man's shield, it actually blocks every hit from the spiders and gives you some sustainability. If he had poor man's shield there, they probably just would have killed Brood and he would have lived.
yeah. And Agi's actually not that bad. A little bit of extra on that four-man shield. There you go. They are going to do a lane rotation now. Ramses heads to the mid lane to go up against the Timbersaw, and they are going to rotate the Storm down to the safe lane. So I guess now level 5 Undershock may be better equipped to deal with the Broodmother after that little excursion down bot. Interesting.
You can definitely justify it, I think. I'm looking at cost differences. Wraithband's 485, Poor Man's is 600. So you don't get as much damage, obviously, you get 3 less, but you also get 3 less strength ability. Bad for
Ramses, the wraparound on the backside. It's going to be a nice, easy kill. Solo just walks in with a smoke. He's got Windlice and Boots of Speed, so the Shadow Shaman, speedy by Shadow Shaman standards, still only 350, but able to get in and set that kill up. They punish that rotation straight away. Vega in good shape all of a sudden.
And it's not even really a rotation, it's more like Drow is at the point where he's like, oh great, Brood got a double kill, now I can't win my lane anymore, so I have to go somewhere else instead. So Storm goes the safe lane now. He's much more survivable against spiders since he can just Remnant or potentially Ball Lightning, so he'll go safe lane now. Now Drow's mid, and really nice play by Vega. I guess you meant Vega's rotation, but the rotation by Vega just absolutely shuts him down. Is really going to limit what he can do this game.
All right, so Drow right back to the mid, and oh boy, Timbersaw, he wants to go in. No one does a little bit of damage there. Could have done more if the Chakram hit him dead on, and a little bit of kill potential. Still seeing the weakness of the Drow Ranger at this stage. Ramsey's feeling the need to go back for a second Wraithband just to get some extra stats and try to survive against this burst. It is tough, though. No one has a full level up on him, and it's just non-stop harassment. Only Brown Boots on the Drow, and Timbersaw with Arcanes. He's going to spam all day, chasing him deep, solo on the high ground. He is low on mana, does not have enough for an Ether Shock. Or pardon me, Shackles rather. Drops the shock. Yep, my bad. Drops and...
That was close. If he had mana for Shackles there, he definitely would have killed the Drow. A Shackles with Timbersaw using 1 or 2 spells would have led to his death. So that was pretty big for Empire that they were able to eke out his living and get the Shadow
really
Shaman
good rotation. Those Afterlife just nearby in the jungle, but the Lion coming in right at the clutch time to turn that one around.
Yeah, super important. In the meantime, Ricky's going to get experience on the top lane. Top tower has fallen, so I think this is okay for Empire, but it's not looking good. The fact that Brood was able to get that much advantage, despite 3 supports constantly sitting top, it kind of ruined everything. I may even tweet about Poor Man's Shield on Drow Ranger, I swear to God. Especially if you buy 2 Wraithbands, I think it's 100% justified to get the Poor Man's. Yeah,
no doubt. And Slark is also a concern of mine. He took out that tier 1 tower like you mentioned. He's level 7, 1,300 gold, about halfway to a Shadow Blade if that's what he wants. Either way, he's number 1 on net worth. He's had a lot of space, pretty much just free farming the entire game, and that's something else that Empire will have to address in the near future. Tidehunter just now hits level 6, hasn't leveled up Ravage yet, but that will be another tool they have in their arsenal, as it looks like they might want to rotate down bottom. King R stuns up the Spider Babies, does mitigate some damage there, and ends up being a little bit of farm going the way of Undershock. Not going to complain about that. Mid, though, no one in a little bit deep. Smoke Cloud from Ricky. Arrows from Drow. They get a kill. Much needed for Ramses. That'll be a nice pick-me-up for him. He moves up to 1,000 gold.
Yeah, he'll take any kill like that. Really nicely done. And I do like that he grabbed 2 points in Frost Arrows. I think more Drows could use a second point. But FN might rotate over and try to gank him mid.
Solo, is he in trouble
Solo might
here?
die first.
Shallow grave from Dazzle, buys him some time. Poshka completely out of mana. Ether Shock does a bit of damage. Now Slark comes around the backside, and Ramses, oh boy, he gets punished. That Fang came out of nowhere. That's his first rotation, and they were not ready for it.
Yeah, I maybe would have liked him to commit to the Shadow Shaman there, because he was kind of dead anyways, but he definitely got a little flustered, and that's one of the really nice things about the way Vega's been playing the map. As soon as they got the tier 1 tower, the Ricky's been spending all of his time farming the large camp in the lane back and forth. It's not as efficient as him hitting the jungle, but then he's always available in case that kind of a mid-fight happens, and it pays off there.
So Broodmother finally getting some space, now picks up a Hand of Midas. 8 minutes and 20 seconds on Mag, especially after a start like that. I mean, he did get 2 kills, but he was zoned for a little while. He has more than recovered from anything. Some of his spiders going to get cleaned up here. Wow, Undershock. Just gobbling those spiders up. That is yummy money.
Yeah, that's so worth it for Storm. So, despite Brood doing really well, as long as Storm cleans up a lot of those last hits, it could accelerate him into a fast Bloodstone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the build he's going to go for here. Soul Ring, Arcanes, probably Bloodstone, Orchid. I think you can make a strong case for Orchid this game. Amazing against the 2 supports as well as Timbersaw. Can be okay against Slark. A little risky, but
It is really good right now, but I think the build is shifting more towards Bloodstone first, just because the survivability you need is pretty important, and even if you do buy Bloodstone first, you can still get Orchid by 25 minutes or so, just because you farm so much faster with Bloodstone that way. Oh, he almost dies! Oh, what a kill!
He zips into a heal bomb, it looks like, then Solo just blasts him down. That's...
I didn't see the approach to it, but I think they smoked forward, they wrapped Shadow Shaman around, then they started having spiders hit Storm, which meant he's like, oh, I'm happy to kill spiders. I'll kill your spiders. And then the heal bomb just took him to nothing as the shackles went in. That was so hard to execute. If at any moment they saw the Shadow Shaman or he got scared of the spiders, they don't get the kill. If he ball lightnings too early off of the Shadow Wave, he gets out. They timed everything so magnificent there.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff from Vega. Slark also got killed in that time. He was farming away in the jungle, working on that Shadow Blade, and they do kill him with a lot of unreliable gold. So actually a pretty good time to pick up that kill. Kill down bottom, though, does transition into a tower in favor of Vega. Maposhka going to rotate mid, leech a little bit against no one. Timbersaw, of course, going for the tried and true Bloodstone first item as a Haste Rune comes out for the Drow Ranger. What is Drow working on? I guess she spent most of her money on treads. Dragonlance probably sensible next stop. Yeah.
Yeah, she spent about a little bit on that. Yeah, Dragonlance most likely. It's still a little iffy this game considering Brood can close gap as can Slark, but it's good that they did kill Slark, though. I think they used a smoke probably, did Lion and Ricky, and then Scout with Ricky, did Silence into combo with Finger Death. Afterlife gonna probably die here. Wow, that was straightforward.
Could have ravaged, but only a Lion nearby, no Finger, really no point to it. Probably wouldn't have saved him anyway, so...
Yeah, there's no way they would have killed him. With Finger of Death, yes, they could have maybe, but without Finger, Slark lives.
All right, nice rotation for the Dire. Mag still getting a lot of space down bottom. He's now moved up to number 1 on the net worth. Phase Boots, Hand of Midas, another 1,000 gold sitting in the bank. I think Mag's got to be pretty happy with his current state of affairs.
Yeah, he's really stacked. I think he's going to go the similar build that Bulldog was doing the other day, which is Midas phase into Echo Silver.
Right. Uh-oh, Dust now. They're going to try to set something up. A lot of spiders. Silence from the Ricky. Now a Hex onto Undershock. Oh, they're going to turn this the other way. Nibble, go the little spiders, but they don't quite have the damage. Mag, quite speedy, going to try and chase him down. Undershock, now out of mana. Smoke Cloud from Ricky, slowing him down a little bit, but it's not enough. Brood gets credit for the kill, and that's a dominating streak. Now on Mag. He's going to start to chase down Maposhka. Has himself another Sentry Ward. No one's inbound. They almost have the damage. He gets the spiders off, and Mag will get yet another one. It's a double, 8-4, as he now jumps into the lead.
I think Empire is going to learn a really tough lesson this game, and it's that you can't open Drow Ranger when Mag is on the other side and can pick Brood. That is just... He's just been playing fantastic here. Another kill mid now. Drow Ranger gets punished, and it just seems like Empire can't stabilize anymore. All of that good team fight and hero pick synergy that they had just is completely lost by the fact of them losing lane to Drow, or to the Broodmother.
Yeah, and all of that was also giving space to the Slark. I mean, they put a lot of stock in the Tidehunter. By putting him in the jungle, you guarantee that the enemy safe lane is going to have a good time. So because of that, it puts pressure on the Tide to get off big ravages, take objectives. Think about Beastmaster when he goes jungle level 1. As soon as level 6 hits, he's looking to gank, start using that Primal Roar. So far, we haven't even seen a ravage yet from Afterlife. The team fight power hasn't come online.
It's not always something you can do as Tide. He doesn't rotate as easy for movement. Like, you don't necessarily rotate and get a kill every time, but with Beastmaster, you smoke with one other person and it works, but Tide doesn't have the same damage. He just has Ravage and 1 Anchor Smash. That's like 200 magic and 225 physical. That's nothing compared to what a Beastmaster can do with help. So, I mean, Tide, that's the problem with Tide as an AFK jungler. If he, like you said, if he would have contested his lane a little bit, maybe Dazzle wouldn't have been able to TP to save Brood that one time, for example. It could have changed everything.
That's actually a really good point. That one TP from Dazzle set up the double kill for Mag, and that's what really flipped the scale down bottom. Before that, they had killed Mag once. They're doing a pretty good job keeping him down. Nice deny from the Drow. Ramses times it perfectly.
That was really well done. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I just saw that little arrow fly in at the perfect spot last second. FN walks into a sentry ward here. They aren't inbound, might not have really scouted this out, but they know they're hunting nearby. They put another one down under shock, being very cautious as he farms away at his neutrals.
So they've got decent wards on the Radiant side to try to cover against all this roam, and this is basically what you have to do against Slarks. You have to put sentries and obs places, assuming you're still in passive farm areas, until you're ready to push, in which case you need a sentry in front of the towers. But they need to limit the gank potential that Vega can do right now with the Slark with Shadowblade. If they can do that, maybe they can get some good turnaround kills, but if they don't, they're going to lose the game very rapidly.
Yep. Mag going for the build you were talking about. Echo Saber now completed. Plenty of attack speed on him, and he's actually turning into a scary semi-carry. Some pretty solid right clicks.
Yeah. This build's so good. I don't remember what he buys after, maybe like MKB or I'm sorry, SNY maybe, but...
Yep, uh-oh, Dazzle mid. Whoa, he gets off the grave before the finger comes out, and he almost TP's home. King R gets in with the Hex. They will still find the kill, but he buys himself a little bit of extra time and actually almost survives. If he had TP'd out there, that would have been just a demoralizing blow.
Yeah, it really would have been. I was a little unsure about whether Finger was worth it there, but... I mean, I think they wanted to kill to guarantee that they get the tower, and that's going to do a lot for Empire here. Less space for Vega to control, less places where Ricky is going to have to worry about being spotted, so he should be able to roam better, and hopefully for Empire that turns into more kills, because they need to get kills right now.
Yeah, Slark now with an Ogre Club. Wonder what he's working on, if he's just going to move straight into BKB, maybe an SNY of his own. I guess Echo Saber, probably the obvious choice.
It's just BKB, I think. Or it could be, yeah, you're right. It could be Echo Saber.
Oh, wow. Undershock. Just gets destroyed bottom. Solo drops wards, but Mag pops the Insatiable Hunger, and they bring him down quick.
How did they do that? Just a walk-in Hex or something?
Yeah. That was exactly it. Just jumped on him. Little spider babies, wards, the Ether Shock, and Hex all at once. Wow.
It's another reason Insatiable Hunger is so good on this hero, now at least with Echo Saber, is because you get the double hit. It's kind of actually similar to what Sven does. Yeah. Sven pops his ulti, hits way harder. You get the quick upfront double hit with the Echo Saber, which means that Brood is getting an extra 90 damage with a right click right as the fight starts. Not to mention the important slow, which he's already lacking. He doesn't have the best utility on the hero.
Yeah, especially with only 2 points in the incapacitating bite early on. It's pretty nice. It's just an overall well-rounded build, and now the Brood is in really great shape. It just keeps getting better. Solo, on the other hand, going to be in some trouble here. Gets a Hex off onto Afterlife, so Spider Baby's going to be inbound, but Undershot comes zipping across, and the Shadow Shaman will not be able to get out of that one. Brood just going to have to back up. 4 heroes from Empire help make that rotation. A lot of wards down for the Dire. They will drop a sentry, and this will give a little bit of vision control back to Empire, at least help it out, give them some safe spots to farm, but still a ward down in the mid, and another one here, smack dab in the middle of their jungle.
Yeah, the thing that's really saving Empire here is the Storm Spirit pick. It's giving them such good reach that even if stuff is happening deep in the jungle, it doesn't matter how underfarmed Storm is. He can almost always show up if his mana pool is pretty full. So the Storm pick is going to help a lot, keeping their jungle clear of enemies, and having Ravage on top of that is also helpful, because then Vega, it makes him more scared to commit to a 5v5.
Ramses now, Dragonlance up, another 1,500. He is on his road to recovery. Very slow start, still 1-4-3 on the KDA, but middle of the pack, you know, keeping up with his team. They're behind in general, but it's not particularly unfavorable for the Drow Ranger. So still some hope that Empire can turn this around. It is only a 5k net worth and gold deficit. Certainly significant for Vega, but not something that Empire can't turn with one good team fight.
Now, Solo moving into the right part of the map again as a support, you often want to sit behind your offlaner when you have their jungle uncontested, so I like that he's moving down here. And for that reason, great that Empire has a lane ward, which spotted him rotate, so they're going to move some heroes over and likely try to kill the Shadow Shaman again.
Right now, Miposhka just in the perfect spot between these wards where they can't see him. Looks like he's kind of figured it out, or he's just getting lucky. Either way, both sides with tensions brewing, ready for a little fight to break out. I think Ricky
he should be scared. I mean, if Brood is there and Shadow Shaman is there and they have a sentry, he dies instantly.
Yeah.
So he's got to play a little bit safe here. And it looks like with Solo not feeling willing to come out aggressively, then they don't feel comfortable going for the kill.
Yeah, I love how Mag handles his spiders too, constantly just leaving little ones around as mobile wards that detect inbound Ricky Maroos or other rotations. Just good management in general of all of his units.
Yeah, I mean, you've got infinite amounts of spiders anyway. It's not worth stacking them up because they have AoE spells, so
Yeah.
spread them out.
Good stuff. Ricky still living life on the edge here. He does have another sentry ward as well as a dust. Gem might be something, well, certainly will be valuable this game in the hands of both sides.
They're smoking
Something
over.
I think Vega might pick up sooner rather than later. Yep, smoking to come over. Brood buys out most of his BKB and heads to the high ground. He either saw this coming or they just have a good sense that there is a smoke inbound because so many heroes are off the map.
Well, he saw Ricky for sure, I think, because Ricky started moving a bit more, probably walked through those wards and stuff. Oh, the smoke broke for Ricky, so I think they know he's high ground now. But they can't, unless
Can
they have
they
a
get
ward,
to him?
I don't know
Yeah.
if they can place a ward up there. That's the problem. So I guess they'll just turn this into a push. This is also not bad. Killing the Brood first would have been great, but the fact that they all showed up unpredictably on the bot lane as 5 means Vega has less time to react to this.
Yeah, one of those little abusable spots for the Spider. And the great thing here is that Mag can just come in and start backstabbing supports if they opt to defend this tower. There is still a glyph for Vega. They will use it, but no TPs inbound quite yet. They're just going to push out the other lanes. And Empire will have to commit 5 heroes to this push just to finish off the tier 1. Ramsey's getting credit for it. That gets Storm. Well, he's had his Bloodstone now. 12 charges up there. Afterlife with a mech. Still being conservative with the Ravage, but has it available as everyone else TPs out.
Yeah, Empire's doing this quite well, I think. They manage that decently. The fact that they're able to keep their farm up even this much when there's this much map control from Vega is tough. And another thing, you guys might be confused, why isn't Slark getting any kills or doing anything? That's kind of a nice play sometimes if you buy Shadowblade and you start pressuring people. If you feel like they're reacting to you or overreacting, sitting behind their allies, for example, then sometimes it's better just to farm because then they'll spend a lot of money putting sentries on the ground or waiting to see if they can kill you. If you just farm instead, you're safer. Lower chance of dying, you're still keeping an advantage, not as much as you'd maybe like because you won't end the game. But it's by the time he builds BKB here, and he's just going to be way better in team fights. And this is why I thought he might do it. If he gets BKB at least, he can use BKB for 10 seconds, then he can use his ultimate. And at that point, Ravage is for sure gone or expended. Storm has probably used at least half of his mana at that point, and maybe Lionfinger's also gone. So BKB is really needed on Slark this game. If he gets smoke clouded, for example, and hit by any slow, he's just dead because he can't even ulti at that point. So BKB is pretty necessary this game for Slark because they have so many strong heroes against him.
Yeah, and we just relived that moment of that perfect kill on the Storm Spirit from earlier, one of the recent replays I had queued up, but we didn't get to take a look at. That was the rotation down bottom where he got baited by the Spider Babies, the heal bomb from Dazzle right into the Shackle before he could zip out again. Just an example of really good execution of Vega. Throughout this entire game, they've really seemed to be on the same page, and for the most part, they've been executing well. Yeah.
Like, I'm not understanding that in the slightest. Like, average pub players would never concoct that kind of thing. And that's what makes you so good as a ganking player, is when you can figure out how to do those and you execute them in combination with your allies at the exact same time without providing vision or revealing that the gank is happening before it happens. So, really nice play by Vega to get that kill in the Storm.
BKB is going to be coming out around the same time for Mag as well as FN on the Brood and Slark. Actually, Slark has enough money. They both have enough money for it. All right, there you go. Storm zipping across. Yeah, they're going to grab Dazzle.
And they saw the ward placement too. This is going to be so good for Empire here. They get the ward and the sentry, and now this gives them Roche control too, which is exactly what they need against a Dire team.
Yeah.
Especially when they have Drow.
Really good gank right there. The BKBs are going to hurt quite a bit, though. Right now, like, that's the item to have against Ravage as well as Lion.
Yep.
I mean, you can make a case that Hex is good against BKB if you catch somebody with a blink, but this stage of the game, Slark as well as the Brood can just run to the back line, jump on top of the Drow Ranger, and there's not really much they can do to keep her alive, though. Uh-oh, no one. He's going to be silenced twice over. It's a lot of damage. He will commit suicide. That's definitely the play there, but easy pick off for Empire and say goodbye to some of his fresh Bloodstone charges, down to 8 already.
Yeah, this is getting scary for Vega now. I mean, just losing the Dazzle alone allowed them to take this pressure, this tier 2 tower.
Empire playing rather defensive here. Still Afterlife holding on to the Ravage. They could potentially turn. BKBs now popped by Mag and FN. King R will get left behind. Spider Babies come out as he gets brought down. The rest of the team will make it out pretty much unscathed. And honestly, if you're Empire, you should be pretty happy with that. 2
Definitely.
BKB debuts just for your support Lion. Not too bad.
Yeah. 2 10 seconds as well. They just weren't able to commit as hard as they wanted. They needed to pounce some more important hero and force the fight. Like if it was Drow or something, the whole fight would have been better for Vega. but trading those 2 for just a line, that's not worth it. On the bright side, they did get the tier 2 top as soon as the Dazzle had died due to Shadow Shaman dropping wards there. That was a great choice because they weren't going to be able to contest mid. But this is looking a little bit more iffy for Vega. I think Empire's done an amazing job stabilizing since the early part of the game.
Yeah, but the gold graphs still tell a story where Vega is pretty happily in the lead, about 7,500 net worth, almost 10k experience, actually. Some of that coming from the Midas, the Broodmother, of course, and Drow still kind of on her road to recovery. She's now picked up a Shadow Blade of her own to go with the Dragonlance, so another mobility tool there. But speaking of mobility, Blink Dagger on Shadow Shaman, this is a big pickup for Vega.
Yeah, this changes everything, because now he can be the initiator to combo with anyone else on his team, whether it's going to be Timbersaw, Slark, or Brood. So his gank options are going to be far superior than they were, and the way that he's been playing has been great. Sitting in aggressive places in the enemy jungle near one of his cores. That's what you got to do as a support. Don't just passively farm in moments like these, because if he can beat that setup, it becomes even easier for them to secure kills, even regardless of them having a BKB or Ball Lightning or many other options.
Yeah. Solo has been a little bit quiet this game. You look at his KDA, 0, 3, and 5 with 11 kills on the map. He's been there when it's mattered, though. Most of his rotations have resulted in pretty quick, clean kills, and outside of that, he's just spent some time farming. They're going to smoke up again.
They smoked in a ward, though.
Oh, yeah, there it is, right up here. They'll see this one coming. Ricky
They really
might be able to
needed
break
to
it.
deward the area, but they didn't even bother.
Yeah, Maposhka and Ricky going to sense each other here through the invisible telepathy. He does break the smoke of the follow-up heroes, and the rest of Empire will be able to react accordingly. Scan used by the Dire. Will not find anything. Kind of bittersweet there, thinking maybe nobody's nearby, but it just barely misses the force of Empire as they move into that area.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised they didn't minimum kill the Ricky there, because they did smoke. The Slark should have realized, oh, the smoke burned, and I'm in biz, so probably Ricky's here. But they didn't go for it at the same time. Must have made a big mistake. They did buy a gem at least. That's what they needed in this last push. But now it's too late to fight. Their opponents know.
Here we go. Blink Hex from Solo, but now a Hex the other way around. Afterlife in a pretty good position to drop the Ravage, but they'll get a free kill before that even starts. Now the BKBs come. Mag in the back line. Going to bring down King R. And Slark doing a lot of damage to the Tidehunter. He's trying to make it away, but they'll slice up that watermelon nice and quick. 3 versus 4. Vega with the advantage. Radiant do have a Sentry Ward down. Dust comes out. Now they jump in. Tricks of the Trade will reset for the Ricky. Buyback now from the Tide. He still has the Ravage. There it is. Connects on 1, but they make it a kill. No one hits the deck, and the rest of Vega are high and dry. Mag makes it away, and it's kind of a break even. Favorable for Vega, I guess, since they force a buyback. Not the best Ravage, but
if they can get Roche out of this, it's worth it, though.
Yeah,
I think that's really what changes everything.
It's still a quick respawn on the Timber, though. He's got 6 Bloodstone charges. He'll be up in 5 seconds. Vega could still contest this. They have a tier 2 in the bottom.
They've no BKB on Slark, though. 25 seconds left, but only Smoke Cloud is going to be his problem, really.
Yeah, same on the Brood, but they just don't have the damage to bring the Roche down. No Medallion,
So
no minus armor. FN, he goes in deep. He gets low, but he does make it to the high ground.
die.
Storm trying to pursue. They've got it. That's a gem down as well. Huge pickup for Empire. Now can they clean this up to secure the Roche? Finger of Death brings down the Dazzle. Roster wards come. That'll help out. Mag taking a lot of damage. Tries to get up in Ramsey's face, but now Solo's here. No one as well. Ramsey's taking big damage. Silence onto Mag. The right clicks are just not doing enough. He's life-stealing through it. Now Maposhka getting low. Empire in trouble. Tricks of the Trade again. Buy Ricky some time. Blink strike to the high ground. Nicely done by Maposhka. Not sure where the gems got off to, but it looks like the Dire don't have it. All right, Storm's got it recovered. Now they're going to go in onto Mag. Smoke Cloud helping him out. BKB's used again. The Shackles holding Undershock in place. Mag just going to try and run. They miss the Timber Chain. Undershock chases him down. The BKB actually does save him here, and Brood will live. Undershock still in some trouble. Spider Baby's coming up with the Shackles. There are the Spiders. The follow-up. They get the kill, and the gem is down. It's Vega that come out big in this one. No buybacks used by either side. It's just Vega that get the better of it. 2 for 4.
It was very, very close from both sides, though. I mean, Vega throws it initially by giving their gem away for nothing. Slark lost half his HP at the start. He goes back in, though. Doesn't want them to get the free Roche.
Yeah, I mean, likewise, Vega can't really kill it that quickly themselves. Not the best Roche lineup. Still no minus armor, no Medallion or Deso up on the Broodmother, so they can't really flash farm it down either. Empire could definitely contest if they commit. They've got a Ravage coming up in about 20 seconds, and Vega do not want a piece of that in the close quarters.
That's going to be the big thing, really. I mean, they don't have... I mean, it's not like their ults are super long cooldown on Vega's side. It's one of the benefits of their heroes, but...
True. It's
been so long since that first Ravage that they might not even know when it's coming up.
Yeah, and it's been pretty much pure chaos since then. And that makes your kind of internal chronometer a little bit funky at times. They're both teams going to linger around. They'll leave the scouting tools here, the Bug as well as the Ricky nearby. Sentry Ward comes down. They see Brood in the pit. Pings come out, and Vega will move in. Empire starting to spread. Storm the furthest one away, but he does bottle up a double damage rune. Now the Rasta wards come out. They're starting to kill Roche quickly. If they want to contest this, they've got to get in there. Ricky could potentially steal the Aegis, but no, he doesn't go for it. Slark's the one that grabs it. And Vega will be able to walk away with what ends up being an uncontested Roche, despite Empire relatively nearby.
Yeah, I thought it was just a lack of vision, really. Because they got the gem back on Vega's side, they cleared the high ground ward. They knew that Ricky wasn't inside the pit directly, so once they lose vision, they don't know exactly when they go in, and it was too low for them to react at the right time.
FN going to take a lot of damage here. Undershot goes jumping in. That's the end of the Aegis. Very nice. Smoke cloud from Ricky, so he couldn't Dark Pact or Shadow Dance away. They're trying to pursue, but a nice stun from King R breaks it up. Solo in hot pursuit with the Blink Dagger. They might still grab the Lion. Chakram connects. But there's the Ravage. Connects on 4. Nicely done. Vega pops some BKBs, but they're split. No one dies as FN in the front lines tries to drop some damage. Lion does get picked off by the Brood, but Sayoma not going to be able to survive for a grave. Now Mag without a BKB up against the ropes and in a lot of trouble. It's a 1 for 4. Empire taking it big. Undershock with the double damage rune gets a triple kill, and they're marching right up the mid lane.
That was just such a beautiful Ravage. Catching 4 heroes makes it almost impossible for Vega to fight at that point, because all of their important heroes died at the start, namely Shadow Shaman. They need him to be alive to continuously disable, but if he goes down right at the start, they can't win a fight.
Empire, what can they get here, though? Mag down for 45 seconds. Glyphs already come out. Tier 3 tower will certainly fall, but Barrack's going to be something else. Timbersaw very good at clearing creeps here, but boy, do they fall fast. Drow Ranger in the back now with a Silver Edge. They get the melee. Oh, never mind. They get the ranged Barracks. Melee still standing. Empire retreat, but looking at that gold graph, that's going to be a big jump in their favor. Orchid now out on the Storm, the Silver Edge on the Drow Ranger. Big items starting to get completed for this Radiant squad.
Yeah, and despite Tidehunter recently buying back as well, he's also got 2,000 gold in the bank, which he can definitely profit from this game if there is eventually an Orchid or something like that coming from Vega. The big item, though, I think is the Silver Edge. You can remove passives for 5 seconds, actually. That'll be great against Broodmother if he doesn't have BKB up to stop the miss chance. It'll be great against Timbersaw, especially, to stop him from accruing more reactive armor charges. So if he uses that at the start of the fight versus Timber, Timber's going to look like the squishiest hero you've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely. It is the Timber counter, and when you follow it up with a Silence on top of that, he has no reactive armor, he has no escape, and it's just an easy kill. With the Frost arrows stacked up, you're not walking away from that if you're the Timbersaw. So I'm starting to like the odds here for Empire Purge, and looks like actually the fans still don't agree with us. It's a better payout for Empire, meaning that Vega are still the favorites, at least according to the bettors on fanabet.com.
Well, keep in mind our stream is delayed, so that could be some of it too. They haven't had a chance to change their swing yet. We'll have to give them some delay there.
Fair enough.
Big 4-staff purchases for Empire, both Tide and Drow Ranger buying one, and Drow fully finishing. That item I always forget, Hurricane Pike.
Yep,
Hurricane Pike.
Yep, and King R also gets his Aether Lens. So Blink Aether Lens online, a great item, gives him a lot of reach, stens the Hex, and now he can finger from a pretty healthy distance away. That's actually really big for him.
Yeah, it's very good. And you can hit more people with Earth Spike too. Plus it gives you the HP regen that you're missing by not having Tranquil, so definitely a great item to pick up right here. And also, the best part about this actually is that it increases your mana pool so much that you can feel justified maxing Hex before mana drain. So you have way more disable, and not to mention the much lower cooldown on Hex by it being 12 seconds instead of 30.
And of course, the easy build-up, get those Arcane Boots for a small period of time, get some value there. We will see some tower exchanging. Solo drops the ward mid, and that'll be a tier 2 down. They get the tier 2 up top, but now they won't have the wards to defend the high ground, and there's no glyph for Vega. This could be a bit of a rocky defense. There is a Ravage.
That's the problem. They want to be able to pressure their opponents, but it's so hard to go in.
Undershock, hexed up, could be the target of choice. Mag goes out deep. He pops the BKB, but maybe out too far. Storm just zipping around. King R goes in a bit deep. They do get the kill on the Shadow Shaman, but they trade 1 for 1 for it. The difference here, though, is Vega have now used both their BKBs. Slark with a misplay at the end pops it when there really wasn't much action going on. And now they've got a Ravage without magic immunity.
I think he was worried about Lion going in or Ravage or something and him just dying in that 2-second stun.
Yeah.
That should be another range barracks. I don't know if they're going to defend this.
I don't know if they can. Shadow Shaman does not have a buyback here. They're going to focus down the range. Now Melee taking a lot. Still a long time till this glyph comes up. Undershock feeling brave on the high ground. Still with 18 Bloodstone charges. Stick as well as the Orchid if he gets initiated upon. They will finish off the barracks. Now FN jumps in. Maybe they get Ramses here. A lot of damage, but Force Staff keeps him alive. Nicely done until Mag drops the spiders to finish him off. The Orchid from Storm almost comes out in time, but it's just a little too late. Now the TPs. Maposhka will TP home. And it's only the Drow Ranger that falls. Still, they get the barracks. I think Empire will be able to stomach that advantage. Yeah,
easily. I mean, Vega needs to win a team fight right now and take barracks advantage if they're going to get killed here. They're like, all it's going to take is Empire getting one hero kill. They're going to push it for either Roche or for the final barracks advantage, and then it ends. The BKBs are super important too. Like, they can't just waste them like that because their heroes are pretty hard to connect kills on them. Like, Slark can't do that much if he jumps on somebody and they're able to chain stun him. As long as the line isn't there, it's okay, which is the only reason that worked in my opinion. But like, as long as Drow stays away and doesn't get pounced, there's no way they can kill her.
Solo gonna fall to the Shadow Burn, or is it the Soul Burn or the Shadow Burn?
Soul Burn.
Soul Burn, that's it, the Orchid damage. Yep, there it is, the Soul Burn.
Don't you think that'd be a really cool last name? Except like spelled a little different.
Soul Burn? Soul Burn?
Like SULBURN or that sounds like a
B-E-R-N?
last name. I don't know
Solburn?
why. That just sounds like a cool name.
Kevin Solburn? Yeah, that'd be neat.
Yeah, that's like a real name.
I like it. A destined Orchid carrier. Can only play Orchid heroes.
Yeah.
Gotta fit the lore. All right, Empire.
It's got the gem. Both gems on both teams, actually. So.
Okay, so it's
Empire's
the
not done.
Storm and the Slark. Yeah, last outer tower, soon to fall. Vega not going to be able to contest this, especially with the Shadow Shaman down. The Storm is just getting out of control. He's at this stage where he's really high on net worth, even only to the Brood, and he can do stuff like this. Just jump in, drop the finger, say goodnight to your Dazzle. He has a buyback, but easy pickoffs for Empire, and rinse and repeat. Finger from downtown.
I dare say that just guarantees the win here.
Yeah.
It depends how the fight starts, basically. If Dazzle can get back into the fight early enough for them to swing it, but...
Drow will TP back, so it looks like Empire actually not going to press the issue. Just going to go back to farming, split, maybe waiting out next Roche, still a little while till we see the RNG timer, but going to play it safe.
Yeah, I think that's a smart choice. They just probably made the assumption they probably got buyback there. Let's not gamble. We're going to win this game as long as we do a high ground with Aegis instead. So all we got to do is static for a little bit, get some vision around Roche, take a decent fight there, take Roche, and then we should be able to take the high ground, no problem, and end the game. They don't throw it at this point, especially when they're already up one game due to their winner bracket advantage. Yeah. They can't mess around here, and all the heroes are probably going to buy BKB right now for that reason. Yeah, and to restate the odds here, well, they actually have fluctuated, but more what's on the line. This is the difference between first and second place. It's a $50,000 cup. First place, $25K. Second place, $12.5, I believe. So a pretty big difference in money. Definitely something worth playing for and bringing out the big guns in terms of pocket strats. Oh, smoke gets broken, but they find him right away. Oh, FN. This is going to cost him. The Ravage comes out, but Shallow Grave from Dazzle buys him some time. BKB, Shadow Dance. He will live. Tricks of the Trade keep the Ricky alive as well. Mag in deep. He used his BKB already. Undershock uses his. It's a pretty even fight. They'll actually lose the tide first, but now Mag getting low. Another Shallow Grave. Dazzle doing so much work this fight, and Empire starting to run out of resources. Undershock jumps back in. Solo gets silenced. He gets brought down now. It's only a 1-for-1. No one. Broken. Oh, no. He's lost his reactive armor, but they just don't have the damage. FN's reinitiated. They'll bring down Ramses on the backside. Vega will lose their Dazzle, and the Lion DCs. He was just standing there. I'm like, surely he'd be moving at least. Looking very weird. But I can't believe Vega was able to pull that fight out. I mean, Slark made a huge mistake right at the start, expecting invis. He saw the smoke coming. He walked into it, and then he hit, preparing to Dark Pact. But they had a gem. They saw him the whole time as he walked in. So if anything, that was a slow reaction from Lion. And eventually, that almost lost him the whole fight. Dazzle saving the game, though. 2 graves there? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that was absolutely insane.
And Slark's back into the fight with full HP, all because of that grave. Changes everything.
Slark is one of the ideal heroes for that kind of a scenario. You know, like your Alchemist can do stuff like that, but Slark, he immediately just goes BKB Shadow Dance. In that situation, they can't do anything. Normally you think, okay, maybe some AoE damage could still catch him. Lion could catch a Lion stun, but with the BKB, he's able to completely get out of the fight. He'll finish his kill first, then get out of the fight, and then come back. And not only does it save the Timbersaw, but it sets up the kill on the Drow Ranger. And now, I think Vega are going to be able to clean up at least one more kill here, if not two. Lion definitely dead. And can they catch Miposhka? Possibly.
It's going to be hard. Worst case, he suicides. Yeah, this is just a safe thing. TP out. Oh, they will get the rookie here.
Probably.
Maybe,
Tricks of the trade. Does he have something that he can blink strike to? He does not. Slark takes a miss. And oh, the Ancients.
Did I?
Ring around the rosy,
Okay.
but doesn't quite get it. A noble effort.
Okay, so Vega stabilize. I'm pretty surprised that they were able to win that fight, but they did it. It was really two Graves. Dazzle absolutely saving the game there. That was huge.
Yep. Potentially game-winning Shadow Priest. Now, they have a tough hill to climb. They're 1.5 lanes of barracks down, and Roche is coming up in about a minute's time. It's a pretty long respawn, which I think, well, sort of works in Vega's favor. If it was up now, they probably could have taken it after that fight, so not ideal, but Empire not going to be able to grab it either. Now a Basher up on Broodmother. If Mag is able to get the Abyssal Blade up, that is a pretty big item. Having that additional lockdown against the Storm, against the Drow, might serve Vega well.
Yeah, especially with the AC on top of that. He's got huge attack speed, plus the Echo Saber. He can kill a lot of heroes by himself. He's a huge threat. Not as scary as Slark, really, and definitely easier to kill, but still something to be worried about on Empire's side. And their team fight's looking a little bit worse. I mean, maybe Storm targeted the wrong people in the last fight. Should have gone aimed for Dazzle right at the start, but it's hard to say. That was a pretty crazy fight and definitely a weird start to the fight too.
Drow Ranger, does she have another item coming out here? Undershock working on the Shivas.
Drow just got BKB.
He just
prior to
picked
that
up the
last
BKB.
Fight, so.
Okay.
And then they lost it, so naturally no new items.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I guess I thought she had the BKB for a little bit longer than that, but you're right. That was the 10-second charge we just saw used. So Storm Spirit now with the Shivas. This is great. He's got a lot of armor now. Makes him a little more survivable against the right clicks from the Brood and the Slark. And a great tool to go with his 22 charge Bloodstone.
Timber's also relatively close to Shiva's. I don't think he'll spy out here. He'd much rather have Golden Fight. Look at Mag's positioning. He could get caught if they have a gem in the area. Oh, they sentry him. They see him.
Oh, no. Mag, he's in a lot of trouble here. They do have a Ravage. What a stun. Catches all of Empire. Shallow Grave, BKBs, but now the Ravage comes out. It's looking like an okay fight for Empire. They'll get the first kill on the Dazzle, but they lose their Lion shortly after. It was a good initiation, but in the end, Vega react pretty well, and yet another Shallow Grave makes that fight a lot different.
What a weird fight. Every hero was on the cliff there. Solo jumped in with him.
Yeah, not the best Ravage. A lot of BKB'd heroes, so
he kind of had to in some ways. Maybe he had to go a bit earlier. The huge thing actually was no one with his Aether Lens. I believe there was a Hex on the Brood, and it got reflected, and then he Earth Spiked it, which got reflected from the Lotus Orb, I think.
Oh,
which is
that's
kind
what
of
it
what
was.
won Vega the fight. It basically
Okay.
anti-ravaged the whole enemy team.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, how did they all get stunned by Earth Spike? It must have been a recast from a Lotus, so yeah. And it caught on, what, 4 heroes? 5 heroes? It was essentially a Ravage.
They could maybe get Aftershock here. No one finishes his Shivas. He does buy out here. Good choice, I think, for the reduced attack speed. Can they get tied?
Oh, this could be big. Miposhka nearby. Afterlife getting low. He does not have a Ravage. He pops his Guardian Greaves. Out of mobility tools. They use a BKB on FM, but at this point, it's down to 5 seconds anyway. It doesn't matter so much. Solo takes an Orchid. He's going to get turned on. Can't get the Hex off in time. And now Undershock should be able to zip around. He pops the BKB. They go on to FN. Huge damage. The Lotus Orb comes out just a little bit too late, and they do lock him down. Now Mag has to use the BKB to get out, but will it be enough to stay alive? They're dropping sentries along the way. Dazzle inbound with heals. Does have a Shallow Grave off cooldown. Nice stun onto Mag as they turn. They drop the finger, but another beautiful Grave. Might not be enough to save Mag, but still it buys him some time and does ensure the survival of Dazzle. Maybe even no one as well. Comes back in to do more damage, but now turned on. Lotus Orb, not going to save him here. Lion stutter steps with the stun, doesn't recast it, and they secure a clean kill. Very nicely done by Empire. 1 for 4 as they win the fight.
Yeah, Timber maybe could have killed the whole fight at the end, but he's just a little bit behind on items. If he had something like an Aghanim Scepter there, more damage, more spells, faster rotations, but they just got worked down one by one. The big problem was just Slark dying at the start of the fight. Got chain hexed.
Mid barracks taking a lot of damage here. Melee will definitely fall. Glyph comes out. Okay, they want to defend that one, but now the tier 3 down bottom will take some damage. Buyback from the Brood, but Slark and Timber both in the grave without buybacks. Tier 3 is down. Mid lane will fall, and Solo gets picked by the Storm. Mega's inbound, and yeah, I think we're about in GG territory here, Purge.
We can make. Oh man, he killed him instantly.
Yep, Ricky dies, but Mega creeps have indeed been secured. Now Vega need to try to get something more. Empire split out. BKB just a TP home from the Drow. Well worth the 8-second BKB charge when the game's at this state. No tier 4s. Throne going down. Do we dare look at this gold graph? And actually not so big of a deficit. Empire on the way up. GG will be called. Vega going to be eager to get into this next game. Now Empire leads 2-0. One victory away. Could potentially be a very quick grand finals here, Purge.
I hope not. I mean, these games have been great so far. I thought Vega was going to win this at the start, and then Empire played very well to get back in the game, and back in the game had some great fights, and Vega took great fights, and here we are with an Empire victory. But I feel like Vega definitely could have won this one. It's just they didn't transition super well into late game fights. Maybe Timber was a little behind on farm all game, but they had a lot of trouble getting value out of him was maybe the big part. There's just so many disables and silences from Empire. And their drafting and play really paid off. They won the game fair and square.
I will say, though, Mag did live up to his reputation on the Broodmother. Though they didn't win the game, he still did a really good job making space in the bottom, getting a lot of farm. He ended that game 14-3-4, one of the most farmed heroes on Vega's squad. Yeah. They did still play pretty well. There were a lot of individual plays. I mean, the Dazzle worth reiterating. So many clutch graves that kept Vega in that game a lot longer than they otherwise would have been.
Yeah, when you only have Arcane Swan, the fact that he was able to not just die at the start of every fight, either Ricky or Storm, is pretty incredible. So props to him. But you know, Vega just didn't have the lockdowns to guarantee the good late game team fights. It was a very hard game to win, and they go down.
All right, game number 2 on the horizon. Vega going to have to win 3 in a row here to take this series. Hopefully they can at least take us to a game 4. You'll want to stick around to see the conclusion here for the grand finals of the Global Grandmaster Season 1. I'm Zayori, he's Purge. We're from moonducktv. Thank you so much for joining us here. If you want to get on the live odd action, fanobet.com. They've got the live odds here for these Dota 2 matches. We'll be back after this quick break from the sponsors.